This is an example of a circle in standard form instead of center radius form. So as you can see, you can't easily pull out the center and the radius to be able to graph it. This is where we're going to put everything together, and completing the square is going to come into play. So the whole goal is that in the end, we need to have a square on the outside with an x term, a y term with a square on the outside, and it has to equal some number because that's going to be our radius squared. So to get there, we need to complete the square with our x's, complete the square with our y's. So our first step is just going to be to group our x terms together, x squared minus 4x, and then I'm going to put a little plus blank in here because that's going to be one of our squares we complete. Then we're going to group our y terms together. So plus y squared plus 6y. And again, we're going to need to complete that square, so plus blank. And then it all still equals 12. And now, for the sake of keeping our equation equal, we're going to complete the square by putting 2 extra numbers on the left side of the equation. Well, if we want to keep the equation equal, we're going to have to add those 2 numbers to the right side of the equation. So I'm going to add a plus blank to represent those numbers. So now we just need to put everything, complete both squares. So first with our x's, you take -4, divide it by 2, you get -2 and square it, so we need to add a 4 in that blank in order to make it a perfect square trinomial. If we add a 4 on the left side, we have to add a 4 on the right side. Now with our y's, 6 divided by 2 equals 3, square it. To make that a perfect square, we have to add 9. If we add 9 to the left, we have to add 9 to the right. So now we want to take those and write them as their perfect squares. So our x squared minus 4x plus 4 turns into x minus 2 squared. So again, you just take that middle number after you divided by 2 before you squared it. Our y squared plus 6y plus 9 is equivalent to y plus 3 squared. And then on the right side of the equation, 12 plus 4 is 16, plus 9 is 25. So our equation in center radius form, y minus 2 squared plus x plus 3 squared equals 25. And again, the reason we want that is because now we can see our center is at +2, -3, and our radius is the square root of 25, which is 5. So the whole goal is to use completing the square to get this equation in the form of on the bottom so we can easily pull out the center and the radius.